Good afternoon, gentlemen. And let me begin by thanking you both for taking the time out of your busy schedule to listen to me today. My name is Samuel Van Zyl. I'm a work placement student from Boston University, and I'm here today to save the Speakeasy Language Centre from bankruptcy. Now, over the last few months, analysing the company and the operation of the company, I have identified a number of problems and devised solutions to these problems. But due to time constraints, I'll be focusing my attention today on revenue. So I'd like to bring to you the following presentation, Increasing Revenues for Speakeasy Language Centre. Now, the structure of this presentation will involve an introduction, where I will give you my objectives, as well as the main problem I've chosen to address, and I will then move into the main section of my presentation, which will involve the cause of the problem and two solutions. The ending will involve a brief summary, a conclusion, and then time at the end to allow discussion of any questions that you may have. In addition, a handout will be provided to both of you at the end that summarises the content of the presentation. Now, long term, I have two objectives. Firstly, to see a zero loss of business by the end of next quarter, and secondly, to see a 10% increase in revenues over the next 2 quarters. But I'm also going to make you a promise that if my solutions are implemented, that we can continue on your mission to provide every student with the opportunity to learn English, because that's really what it's all about, isn't it? But let us not forget, Mr. Pesky, you are running a business, which means we do need to talk about this, the dollar bill. The playwright Clifford Doertz once said that life shouldn't be printed on dollar bills. And I'd like you both to bear this quote in mind, because we'll be circling back to it at the end. Now, unfortunately, the main reason I'm here today is because last term cost you, Mr. Pesky, approximately $40,000 in lost business. And this is a problem of urgency. So I'm going to treat it justly, and I'm going to transition straight into the main part of my presentation. The root problem is simple. Within the business currently exists an imbalance of staff availability and student demand. You do not have enough staff to meet student demand for night classes. Meanwhile, you do not have enough students attending morning classes to fully benefit morning staff salaries. And if this trend continues, we could be looking at a loss of business of up to $160,000 per year, for God knows how many years. So, solution A. Let me begin by saying that I think teachers are the foundation of your business, the bedrock. Without them, it cannot operate. So, the quality of their working environment should be at the forefront of your mind, Mr. Pesky. But unfortunately, your centre is located in an area that they are too afraid to travel to after dark. So, my solution is simple, a shift in the schedule of evening classes. By teaching these classes from 4 until 7, rather than 6 till 9, they can be finished before dark, which means that we will have staff available, an increase in staff available to teach these classes, which means we can meet the demand of students and no longer have them on waiting lists. Now, on to solution B. A large proportion of your students are young adults. But let me ask you this. What is it that young adults really want and need? The answer? Sleep. Studies have shown that the brains of 14 to 24-year-olds cannot function to their maximum capacity before 9 o'clock in the morning. So it's unsurprising that your 8 AM start time for morning classes is very unappealing to them. So again, the solution is simple. A shift in the schedule of morning classes from 8 to 11 to a new schedule of 10 to 1 will result in two direct effects. Not only will we see an increase in students signing up and attending these classes, but we will also be able to see a huge increase in productivity and the value that they're getting out of their learning experience. In addition, we can also predict that this can have a good effect by decreasing the dropout rate, as students can be more confident about their progress and competence on the course. Now, To summarise, my objectives were, and still are, to see 0 loss of business by the end of next quarter, and to see a 10% increase in revenues over the 2 following quarters. With solution A, shifting the schedule of evening classes, and solution B, shifting the schedule of morning classes. Now, I'd like to bring this presentation to a conclusion, and revisit the quote that I showed you earlier. Do we agree? Because I do. Yes, money is important. And yes, a lack of it is the main reason I'm here today in front of you. But life shouldn't be printed on dollar bills. Because life is printed on the face of a student who is learning. A student who is awake. Life is printed on the face of a teacher who can go to work feeling safe. To you, Mr. Pesky, your life is your business, and I can see that passion in you. So let's continue to realise your mission of providing every student who walks through your centre with a chance to learn English. Let's continue to both educate and inspire the minds of all ages, unleashing the full potential of the business, its employees, and the future English speakers that they are shaping. And with that, I'd like to bring my presentation to a close. Thank you very much for listening, and I welcome any questions that you may have. Thank you very much, and I will now provide you each with a handout.